Put your lips together and blow.
Classic movies, the best sports, exclusive premieres. That's TNT at night, part of what we call the good stuff.
The 1990 NBA Draft is brought to you by Digital Equipment Corporation, the official computer vendor to the NBA. By Wheaties, the natural goodness of 100% whole grain makes Wheaties the breakfast of champions.
Hi, Bob Wessler, you're no stranger to Turner Sports and now president of ComSat, but your team, the Denver Nuggets, have been very active. First Chris Jackson, but you've been in the news making a lot of noise about a general manager. What happened in that John Thompson situation?
Well, we got very close. Peter Bino, our managing general partner, Bert Lee, Carl Shear, our president. We all very much wanted John to take that job, and we tried very hard to get him. But the lure of Washington, D.C. and the University of Georgetown was just a little bit too much for us.
Well, there's also been a little controversy swirling around. What about your coaching situation? Is Doug Moe going to stay in the seat?
Doug Moe is our coach for as long as we're there. We want to hang on to Doug Moe. Of course, we're going to be hiring a general manager. And somebody recently said, you know, Steve would make a terrific general manager. I know Bob Neal is sitting up there with a couple of would-be coaches, but I think you're the general manager in the pack on this group.
Well, Rick Barry would like that job. Let's go back up to Bob Neal.
Oh, we don't have to laugh because Bob's our former boss.
Hey, but me, Bob thinks I want to be a coach. I'll take the general manager's job. He wants to offer me that contract.
You can coach me on how to carry my luggage. Let's go to David Stern now and find out about New Jersey's selection. Oh, he's not out there yet. New Jersey coming up for their pick. This is the selection that New Jersey got in the trade that sent Dennis Hobson to the Chicago Bulls. They got pick number 22 from Chicago. So New Jersey is about to select, and I understand David Stern's there now. With the 22nd pick in the 1990 NBA Draft, the New Jersey Nets select Tate George from the University of Connecticut. Tate George is not here at the Javits Center tonight. Tate George is a guard from the University of Connecticut. He's 6'4", 190 pounds. And if this selection works out as well as a young man by the name of Cliff Robinson, last year who went to Portland out of University of Connecticut, this will be a very good basketball player. Doug, your feeling?
Well, I like him because he has size. He's about 6'4.5". You can see him taking a smaller guard down in the post. He had a very good senior year. He played for a very good Connecticut team. You see him, he's a pretty decent ball handler. He's big enough to see over the defense. He can take it to the basket. You know, all his days at Connecticut weren't that great. He had some tough times early, a lot of expectations. He had a very good senior year. They needed another point guard. I think they got a good selection here.
We saw a lot of clip shots of Tate George in the NCAAs, him hitting the shot at the buzzer versus Clemson. A lot of people got to know him on that one play.
Yeah, I guarantee. I mean, that's the shot that he'll remember forever, but probably this is even a bigger night for him. An opportunity to go into the NBA. A lot of people thought that he was going to be a second-round draft pick. Here he is moving up into the first round, and a great deal of that has to do with his performance late in the season, and I think it's just great that you see a young man work hard, have an opportunity to move up into the first round, and I guarantee you, even if you're going late in the first round, the fact that you're a first-round draft choice nowadays in the NBA, you are pretty well set for life if you take care of your money.
Now, the rebuilding, the brand-new Sacramento King. This will be pick 4 for Sacramento. This one from Utah in the deal. And remember, not only has Sacramento selected Lionel Simmons when they selected 7, then they took Travis Mays at 14, came back and got Dwayne Coswell. They added in the deal with when they made that three-way trade involving Utah and Washington, Eric Lechner and also Bobby Hansen. And now here it is at pick number 23.
Well, now, Doug made a comment just a little while ago when we talked about Sacramento, how much Dick Motta likes those small forwards. Well, the player that I hear about that they like a lot in that position is Anthony Bonner out of St. Louis University. And he obviously is available. Of course, there are some other guards who are still there, but that's the guy that I have to think that they very well may go with. At least that's the one that I've heard rumored about that they like.
Well, he's also a very good rebounder. And, Rick, I think at this point in time, rather than get a position, they want to get a very good player. And Bonner, I watched him in Chicago at the draft camp. He runs the floor well. He's got a knack to rebound in basketball. I think he would be a very good picker. Also, Abdul Nabi is still around, a big player that could give them some help on the front line.
So it's Dwayne Simpson.
Dwayne Simpson has got Detroit Pistons bad boy written all over him, guys. I'm telling you, he's slipping down there. Jack McCloskey's licking his lips right now.
Dwayne Simpson would be loved in Detroit. So Sacramento's about to make their fourth selection tonight. They had two players picked up, Eric Lechner and Bobby Hansen, in a trade. Lionel Simmons, as we told you, the Naismith Award winner, small forward, who went number 7. Then it was Travis Mays, the excellent guard from the University of Texas, followed by Dwayne Coswell, the center out of Temple. And, you know, you start asking questions here, and Doug, your coaching experience is a good place for you to talk about this. You bring in 4 rookies, number 1 draft choices, 2 players who've been traded there. You got your hands full as the coach at Sacramento with that many new players.
Yeah, not Dick Motta, though. Dick Motta thrived on this. He went to Dallas. He took over a situation there. They won 20. They won 24. He's going to be patient. He can handle that situation. The guy's coached the NBA. He's been hired. He's been fired. He's got scars. He can deal with that. So he's a perfect guy for that position to rebuild that team.
Yeah, and I think he's very fortunate that he has had the opportunity to be able to get so many different picks to make all of those trades. I mean, he's bringing in people basically that he likes. It's really like kind of starting fresh almost with an expansion team, except that you do have some veteran people there as well. Again, as Doug said, he's been through it before. I think he has much better quality players than just talking about an expansion team. And if anybody can get the job done down there, I think it was an excellent choice in Dick Motta, and he's going to have some better talent to work with.
So the Sacramento Kings about to select next here. We're at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. This is the 1990 NBA draft. It's kind of interesting when you start making the selections. We were talking about back in 1986, a lot of the first-round players, several of them did not do well in the draft. Of course, the tragic death of Len Bias is first thing off your mind. But some second-round players like Mark Price and Kevin Duckworth, you just don't know which of these fellas, despite their college reputations, how good they were, how problems they had, how they're going to turn out to be stars, which makes this very interesting.
You know, Bob, sometimes these kids who have been recruited since 16-year-old players get their life so out of focus. Some of these later developers, the guys that come on a little later, are sometimes your better NBA players because they haven't been through that buying and selling period of what goes through the college 16-year-old kids. So I like some of these selections down here. You know, we got to remember that of the top 6 picks last year in the NBA draft, not one of those guys were on the all-rookie team.
That's an interesting situation, and you don't know, again, which one of these players, whether it's going to be Derek Coleman, is going to end up to be an instant contributor and a player who will make the all-rookie team, or it'll be somebody late in this round, or somebody even going into the second round. There are 3,000 people here at the Javits Convention Center. The most active the audience has been so far is when the New York Knicks made their selection of Gerard Mustaf. Let's find out, though, who the 4th rookie to join the Sacramento Kings will be.
With the 23rd pick in the 1990 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select Anthony Bonner from St. Louis University. San Antonio selects next.
Anthony Bonner, 6'7", 225 pounds, from St. Louis, a worker, a rebounder, a quick player. Saw him on television several times this year. An interesting player. As you see the weakness, how developed are his offensive skills?
Yeah, but he's got a knack. He can rebound the basketball, and in the NBA, the way the defenses are getting now, Bob, the rebounding is becoming such a premium. He's also a very active basketball player, and his St. Louis U team beat a lot of big-time teams this year going into the NIT, so I think it's a very good selection, and my compatriot here, Rick Barry, was all over that one.
Well, I'll tell you, he really, I think, is a nice pick for them. They like him a lot. Again, we've talked about this starting out as a young man in college and improving every year. He went from 10 to 14 to 16 to 20 points a game. His best season was this last season as far as rebounding totals. He had his best free throw percentage, and this is a young man that is constantly moving up. And again, I know if I were coaching, that's the type of a young man that I like to see on the ball club.
San Antonio is going to come up next. San Antonio got David Robinson a couple of years ago. He was a Rookie of the Year last year. Who will they get to help out the Robinson Brigade? We'll find out after this.
Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA.
presents the 1990 NBA Finals most valuable player, Isaiah Thomas.
I bet you if we win, if I miss it, we're going in overtime. I ain't giving them a chance to shoot it again. Come on, let's go, baby! Come on, let's go! Isaiah deep on the left. He takes a great shot. It's a triple over Porter.
My great pleasure to award the 1990 Finals MVP trophy to a future Hall of Famer, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas has to be very happy with his MVP, with his performance, and with his Eagle talent. We have an MVP performance and an MVP car with a great sponsor.
I think it's kind of fitting with the Eagle talent. We've kind of matched a style of play with a style of vehicle. You know, it's a nimble, quick automobile on the road.
It just puts the cap on a great season. When reality meets your dreams, it's kind of like ecstasy.
People keep asking me how it felt to be in the first Jamaican bobsled team. Well, let me tell you, man, it was cold, freezing. See, coming from Jamaica, the only thing I like cold is Miller Lite. Like, not some watered-down version of your regular beer. It's a less filling beer that really tastes great. And let me tell you, man, Jamaican bobsledders will be ready in 92. Keep trading on, going for the gold next time.
You gotta believe when it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
Okay, let's update you now on who's been selected in the 1990 draft. The very first player selected tonight, Derek Coleman of Syracuse, and then it was Peyton, Chris Jackson, Dennis Scott, Kendall Gill, Felton Spencer, the first center selected, Lionel Simmons, the Naismith Award winner. Then Bo Kimball went to the L.A. Clippers. The Rockets surprised everybody by taking Alec Kessler when most thought they'd be looking for a guard there. Loy Vaught from Michigan went to the L.A. Clippers. Travis Mays to Sacramento. Jamerson out of Miami University. Terry Mills, another Michigan player, went to Milwaukee. The Knicks got Gerard Mustaf, the early entry out of Maryland. Coswell was the second center. He went to Sacramento. Jason Williams out of nearby St. John's went to the Phoenix Suns. Tate George to the Nets, and Anthony Bonner went to Sacramento. Sacramento with 4 selections, and now it's time for San Antonio to make a selection. It might remind you, we talked just a moment ago, Rick and Doug, about the fact that being a first rounder isn't an automatic ticket into the big time, not an automatic ticket to success. There have been a few who have not panned out, as you might see. We'll take a look at these, and fellas, the one that sticks in my mind out of that group there was Bob Bass, who still is a little bit of a smile on his face when you mention Frederick Hughes. He was very high on Hughes making it, and it just didn't work out for him.
Well, you know, I think also to Keith Lee, he was drafted by Chicago, but actually Charles Oakley was going there. That was a deal, so let's not put that on Chicago.
That's right.
Well, Chris Washburn probably was the biggest disappointment, being picked so high up there in that third position, and unfortunately, you know, having the problem with the drugs. But you know, that's something that you don't always know. But usually, if you make it, I guess last year all the #1 picks are still around, so it was a good year.
Okay, well, San Antonio is about to select next. San Antonio with 56 wins this year. David Robinson was the man there. Let's see what kind of help he's going to get. Here's David Stern.
With the 24th pick in the 1990 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dwayne Shinsis from the University of Florida.
Well, now there's an interesting one. Dwayne Shinsis goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Dwayne Shinsis from Florida. We've been talking about him this evening. This is a 7-footer. He went down to Orlando at that camp weighing 293 pounds. His weight right now, after the Chicago camp, got down to 275 pounds. Shinsis has big-time skills, but as we say, he's been, in terms of his reputation, a question mark in the minds of many in the NBA. Rick?
Well, now this is going to be a real test if indeed there's no deal being made here. There's not going to be a lot of playing time playing behind a fellow by the name of David Robinson. However, it could be a situation where David wouldn't have to kill himself if he's willing to play hard and play that backup role for a while to get adapted to the league. It would prolong his career for a while. He had a nice chance to make a living, to be on a team that could win a championship. You know, who knows? But I think that he's not going to be real happy because he's not going to get very much of a chance to, you know, really be a player and get a lot of time.
Well, they were looking for a backup center, too. Caldwell Jones retired this year, so they needed a backup center. And I'm a little bit curious there to that pick, too, because I think they needed some shooters, Rick, to go with that ball club. The double teams that Cummings and David Robinson see in the post, I thought if the team had one weakness, it was their ability to consistently knock in that outside shot.